YouTube, what's up? What's going on? Happy Monday. We're in March. March is almost out the door. I told you this year's moving. You better be getting some things done, man. I'm serious. We ain't got time to be playing around at 25. This ain't the play around year. You know what I'm saying? Better be getting some things done. Better man it up to some promises that you probably made to somebody in the past. Never forget the promises that you make to somebody. Fulfill them, no matter what. No matter what the circumstance is. But like I said, this year's almost over with. It's already in the first quarter, about to be over with. You play football? Do you know about them quarters? March is the end of the first quarter. Hope you get some things done, like I said. Before you know it, it'll be December. And then we'll be going into 26. So please knock out whatever it is you say you got to knock out. Get started on whatever it is you say you want to get started on. Simple. But once again, me being me, you know what I mean? I was thinking about life. Sitting around, observing things. You learn a lot about life simply by observing. Just observe nature. Nature could teach you a lot of things. A lot of positive things in this life. It's real simple. Open your eyes. That's all you got to do. Step one, open the eyes. Look around. God made all of this for us. We can learn from each and everything out here when it comes to nature. But I was just I was thinking about, you know, how sometimes I buy my little lunch sandwiches, you know, for work. Usually 5 times a week, sometimes 6 times a week if they have them. You know what I mean? But when I buy these sandwiches, I really don't eat the ends of the bread. They're just something simple as like a tuna fish sandwich or egg salad sandwich, whatever it is, right? But I don't eat the ends of the bread, right? And when I'm at work, I see these birds that are just enjoying life. They're doing what birds do, you know? And I say, you know what? It don't make no sense for me to just throw this in the garbage can. Especially not given the fact that birds, they like bread. Right? What harm can come across giving some birds some bread? You're doing a good gesture. So, sometimes where I eat at, there's little birds. We'll just call them blackbirds. And then there's crows. They're usually not too far by. So, what I noticed was, when I toss out these chunks of bread, guess who gets them every single time? The crows. You know, and I don't think it's right. Yeah, crows got to eat too. That sounded a little something like something else, but you know, but crows got to eat too. And after so many times of tossing this food out for the general population of birds, the little black birds and the crows, I wanted to give a fair shake to the little birds, the little black birds. You know, and what I realized was, as a little blackbird, you got to learn how to defend for yourself. You got to learn how to make do for yourself. Because there's always going to be competition out there. There's always going to be a crow not too far off from where you're at that wants what you want. That's trying to take what you have. So I've noticed from time to time that these little birds, they got sharp up here. Not only like the crows, they memorize things too. They memorize the vehicles that you're in. They memorize the time frames that you might show up within. You see, that's what you got to do sometimes. That's the lesson that you can pick up from nature. Is you got to outsmart the next man. You got to come up with creative ways to beat the odds that are stacked against you. That's what you got to do. They've realized that if they come out a little earlier, a little bit sooner than the crows, they have a fair shake at getting some nice pieces of bread all to themselves, undisturbed. And that's how they eat. Now, they're natural birds. They make do all the time. They've been here for ages, right? But what's wrong with giving them a helping hand every blue moon, whenever you can? Nothing. Nothing wrong with that. But you don't want the bigger guy to take from the smaller guy. That's what you don't want. Not time and time and time again. So like I said, they learn my schedule. The little blackbirds. They learn to be first on scene. Those are survival tactics. Because you gotta outsmart the other guy. Just like in this life for us. You gotta find out where the opportunities are for you. You gotta be first on scene. Because there's somebody out there that wants your position. There's always somebody out there that wants to take from what you have, from what you've accomplished. But you can't allow that. I would hope not anyway. So you got to come up with a tactic to beat the competition. You got to come up with a tactic to hold on to what you've accomplished, to what you found. You don't want nobody to come around and take that from you. Because those opportunities, they don't always come around. Just like for those little black birds. That opportunity of a free meal doesn't always come around for them. Doesn't come around often. Remember, that's just one small time frame throughout their day that they got a decent meal, if you want to call it that. But just like this life, I said, you got to find the opportunity before the next person. You got to take advantage of that opportunity before the next person. Also, you realize that, back to the bird scenario, you can't help everyone. For example, we had a wild turkey randomly pop up in our yard where we have trucks and trailers at. This wild turkey looked lost. But he happened to come in our area when I had just finished my lunch, like I said. And I said, you know what? I felt bad for the little guy. Or big guy, actually. I said, you know what? Here's some breadcrumbs for you. Some bread ends for you. I threw it all around him. He had no choice but to see it. This guy stepped over the breadcrumbs, the large pieces of bread. I felt insulted. The nerve of this guy to turn down what I'm trying to provide for you. I felt insulted. Couldn't believe it. I figured you was a bird like every other bird was a bird. He didn't look twice at the bread that was on the ground. So that goes to show you, you can't help everyone. If they don't want the help, you can't force it upon them. But that was an opportunity for that turkey to feed. Perhaps he was full. Perhaps he wasn't looking for an opportunity like that at that moment. Perhaps you get opportunities that pop up in your life. And maybe you're not ready for them. Maybe you're not looking for that type of opportunity at that particular time in your life. Doesn't hurt to store that information. Doesn't hurt to stockpile on that bread. Put it aside for a rainy day. You may not know when it comes in handy for you in the future. But those are lessons that you can learn just from observing nature. You don't need a book. You don't need a webinar. You don't need a Zoom meeting. You just need to open up your eyes and be able to see things. Like they say, see the forest through the trees. You got to be able to observe what's going on in this world. You got to be able to see if there's an opportunity for you to better yourself. You got to be able to realize an opportunity if it's presented to you from someone you know or someone you may not know. Don't just blow off everything you hear. Don't think that that person doesn't have the knowledge that you have. Or don't think that that person, knowledge level, is not greater than yours. Those are the individuals with chips on their shoulders. You can't tell them nothing. Don't be that person. Always have an open mind. Always. But I keep thinking on that turkey, man. That guy hurt my feelings. Literally hurt my feelings. I thought for sure he would gobble all that bread up. He was encompassed with thick pieces of bread ends, sandwich ends. But hey, that's life. Life surprises you. It's a shock sometimes when you try to help someone, and simply by not taking action, they don't want the help. They show that they don't want to help. But don't you be that person. Always keep a keen ear out to what you can learn from someone today, tomorrow, in the future. Because if you can't simply learn from nature, then maybe you'll never be able to learn from another man, from an authoritative figure, from a parent, from a teacher, from a scholar. Perhaps you want your level of knowledge and wisdom to always be below par. I don't want that for you. I want you to be the best version of you that you can be. That's why you're on this channel, right? You gotta learn from opportunities. Like my kids the other day, 7 and 8, boy and girl. I told them Sunday morning when they woke up, I said, hey, make some time today. Get your room clean. Okay, Daddy. They both were in agreement. The entire day went by. They did a little bit of playing outside, but they spent most of the time on a little tablet that each one has. One for him, one for her. Come nightfall, I go check in the room. I see the room hasn't been touched. My next move was to confiscate the tablets from them that they were on at that very moment. But what that did was, that taught them a lesson. That if you don't do what is asked of you, there's repercussions. My daughter, when I asked for the tablet, simply turned it off, handed it to me. My son threw his across the table. I almost handled that a different way. But he'll learn. He'll learn in due time. But that's a life lesson for the both of them that they can learn from on the spot. That when somebody's trying to teach you something or show you something that you need to know, show you something that you need to do in life, if you choose not to do it, that's fine. But there's repercussions. The repercussions in their case was just an inconvenience. An inconvenience of not having a tablet for a certain time period. And usually, typically with me, that's a rather long time period. I make sure you've learned the lesson. But if you don't learn lessons in life, certain ones in life, the repercussions of not learning those lessons could sometimes be deadly. Sometimes they can be life-altering. Sometimes they can be permanent. Sometimes not only can they affect you, but your loved one, because you never learned a lesson in the first place. There's daily lessons all over the place for everyone to learn. Whether you pick up on them is up to you. Whether you adhere to them, if someone is specifically teaching you, is up to you. But you got to remember, there's repercussions to everything. Repercussions to everything. So keep that in mind as you go through this life. You can learn in every aspect of this life. You can learn from nature. You can learn from your friends. You can learn something from your family. Never stop learning. The day you stop learning is the day that it's over with. Once again, I appreciate your time. If you do get time to like, share, and subscribe, I would appreciate that very much. Till the next one. Remember, this is where we keep it all the way peanut. Peace out.